Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Headliners Hawaii.
I'm Dita, Holifield.
And I'm Romeo, Valentine.
And welcome to Headliners Hawaii, where we sit and talk and get into the stories of the most famous people here in the islands. And they tell their stories, how they made it, and we hope to foster the next generation of artists coming from the islands.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our very special guest, Stephen Hill.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it's so exciting to have you. I'm a super fan. I know you already know that, but for many reasons, not just for your body of work. But in Hawaii, I think people know all about you because you played Theodore Calvin, also known as TC from Magnum P.I. Welcome.
Yeah, I played the second version.
The
There are
second,
some
the
people, you
reboot.
got to say it because some people are confused. I've actually had people say like, "Oh, so how's it working with Tom Selleck?" And I'm like, "That's the old Magnum."
Yeah.
You know,
So you were in the reboot, and it lasted how many seasons?
5 seasons,
5 great
96
seasons.
episodes.
96 episodes.
Yeah.
And so, just getting to know you better, what was it like when you auditioned for that role? Where were you? And walk us through the experience.
I was in New York, and I got this audition. I had already booked another role on a CBS show, a show called Manifest. Right?
I love that show.
Yeah,
I
and
watched it the whole time.
I was gonna be the co-pilot of the airline that goes missing,
Wow.
and it was a possible recurring role, so I was super excited. I
Yeah.
was like,
Sure.
"Yo, I gotta," because before that I was doing like a bunch of like under fives and just tiny little co-star kind of stuff.
Under fives mean 5
Under
episodes.
5 lines.
Oh, 5 lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So,
nice.
That's a new lingo. I never
to get a possible recurring was just amazing to me. And then I got the call for this audition for Magnum P.I. And, honestly, I didn't take it very seriously. I was like, okay, I already got a job, you know what I mean? So I went in, and I didn't even have the sides. And luckily, another actor that I know, he gave me some sides, and I went in.
And sides
And
means?
Sides meaning
Photos?
your script.
Oh, script.
Oh.
Yeah, sides of the script. Just for the scene that you're gonna do. So I went in, did the audition, and they kept asking me to do it over and over and over. And I was like, this is either good or bad,
Right.
And I remember the casting director said, "What's your cell phone number in case we have to get in contact with you?" And I had never heard that before in an audition. And I was just like, okay, that's weird. I gave him my cell phone number. I went and I was at the gym later that night. And the audition was around like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. And later that night, I was on the gym and I was on the treadmill. And I remember saying to myself, like, why would they even send me in for that audition? They're not really gonna cast me for a lead role on Magnum P.I. And I remember catching myself in that moment. It was almost like the thought went out and I caught it and I was like, no, why not me?
Wow.
Right.
Yep. Let's go.
And 5 minutes later, the gym was closing. I'm walking out the gym and my manager calls me and she says, no, it wasn't my manager, it was my agent. My agent called and he said, stay by the phone. We might have good news for you. Right?
Wow.
And then my phone died.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
And I
This
was
is the
like,
worst
I was
story
like, oh my
ever.
God, wait a minute. Right. So I rushed back to the house, charged up the phone, and they were like, pack your bags. They're trying to get you on a plane to Hawaii
Yeah.
at like 4 a.m.
Wow. Like the next morning?
Yeah.
Holy
And I was
moly.
like, huh? Like, what do you mean? I got this other job.
Yeah.
And I was holding on to
Yeah.
that manifest job.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, we told them like that's a done deal. And I was like, huh? But what if this Magnum P.I. thing doesn't fall through? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really didn't know how to let go of the other thing that I was so excited of. But then the time difference threw us off a bit. So nobody was awake on this side.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
it's like
We're all
Yeah.
it was
sleeping.
Yeah, everybody
12.
was asleep. So they couldn't book the flight. So at least I got a day. That
Oh,
gave me
Yeah.
an extra day. They were trying to get me here for the table read, right,
okay.
of the script. Which I'm actually kind of glad I didn't do the table read. Because you can do a table read and actually lose the job.
Really?
I'm
Oh.
really good at doing table reads, so it probably would have been great anyway.
So,
But
what makes you good at table reads?
because I've done a million of them,
Okay.
I've done them, and there's a thing that you do in New York. I think they do it even more in LA, where playwrights want to hear their words,
Mm.
or someone writing the film wants to hear their words and hear if it like all meshes well. Um, and you don't have the money to put on the play, so you want to get it right just in case you do have the money, or you want to put it in front of an audience
Yeah.
that could put money into it. So you end up doing a lot of table reads in New York. I've probably done over 100 of them.
Yeah.
So, your table read, your TC, don't really know that much. What were you going to do at your table read that you didn't have to do? What was your strategy?
So the thing is, the reason I say I'm happy I didn't do the table read. Well, they just couldn't find a flight that last minute for me
Yeah.
to get there, and so I missed it, right? And then I didn't get here until the cast dinner on Saturday, right? And I met everyone literally at the cast dinner. I walked in, and was like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?"
Is
You know
it
what I mean?
awkward
What's
or what?
up?
Is it
And
awkward
then
meeting them for the first time? Like,
it kind of
yeah.
was. But a cool thing happened. I was the last person to get there because I was like literally coming from the airport.
Yeah.
Um, and I met Peter Linkov, who was our
Yeah.
showrunner. Loved that guy. He gave me a great opportunity, changed my life. I said to him, I think the first thing I said to him was, "Hey, I'm sorry my reel was so long," right? Because everybody had been telling me my reel was too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. And how do
Even
you
the guy
take
that
your own reel? Did you do it on your iPhone or did you pay for a
no,
reel?
I had Lyndon McCrae, a good friend of mine. He's since retired from doing reels. I'm so sad about that because I kind of want to do one more,
Oh yeah.
and grab some of the Magnum stuff and put it into a reel.
Mm.
But yeah, he just knows how to make a reel really like glitzy, but also to the point. Not too much fluff, but like he makes it look good.
Yeah.
And but I asked for my reel to be 5 minutes and 55 seconds long. This is my fifth reel. He's done maybe 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I was going with the whole angel number thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, he was like, "Yo, this reel is way too long, bro. You need to like get this down to 3 minutes, right?" And I was like, "Where are we at?" And he was like, "We had like 5 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that." And I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you one more quick clip. I want you to put it to 5 minutes and 55 seconds."
seconds.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's what I want you to do." And he was like, "Okay, Steve, I don't understand." I was like, "Yo, man, just trust me, man. Just trust me." And then after he did the reel, about 6 months later, we started seeing these ads all over New York that said 444, right?
Jay-Z.
It was Jay-Z's
Uh-huh.
album. But at first, it didn't say 440. It didn't say Jay-Z.
Oh, it was just a
just said
teaser.
444.
Wow.
Right? And it was in Times Square, and it just said, we would just say 444, right?
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Yo, what's all this 444 I'm seeing?" I was like, somebody's putting up some angel numbers. And then the second wave of that rollout, it started to say Jay-Z.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, see, so Jay-Z's doing the same thing."
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's
And
the
he
New
was
York
like,
thing, maybe. You guys have
yeah,
that
maybe.
mind.
I don't know.
No, I just playing.
But I said that to Peter. I was like, "Yeah, sorry, it was so long." But he said, "No, that's actually why we hired you." He
Wow.
said
Really?
everything on that reel was what we were looking for in the character.
Wow.
And so, if anybody's interested in looking for it, you can find it, Stephen Hill Reel, 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
That is so
I'm gonna look
sick.
it up.
Yeah, it'll be online. I think it's on Vimeo
Vimeo.
somewhere.
And that's the things that we want to talk about, how you got started and how do we get started or you get started, if you want to get in the business. We just appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing the exciting way that you went about it and all of that. So
I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes, some people they're like they don't wake up one day be like, I'm gonna be an actor. It's like when you get into entertainment, it's like
I think a lot of people wake
Want
up
to
and
do it.
say they want to be an actor, right? One, I think we just in a society where people feel very unheard and unseen, right? So it's like, look at that. Those actors, they're being heard and they're being seen. That's how people can pay attention to me. I can have a voice. I feel like we want voices. And it's a weird thing because we have the ability to be heard more than ever before, but because everybody's talking, nobody's actually being heard.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's just
counterintuitive of where
yeah.
we used to be.
It's before it was kind of like if you got something to say, you go to the barbershop.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
might be the biggest audience you can gather.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
If you're not an actor or you're not somebody that's on some sort of stage or
Yeah.
platform.
Because now it's
Um,
social media and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's easier
now
to access.
hey, I got all of these followers, but it's not a real thing anyway, right? You get, I'm on a show with millions of people watching. I have less than 50,000 followers on the social media.
Yeah.
Because it's just not real. It's not organic.
Yeah.
They want you to pay for those followers, right?
I get those
So,
ads.
yeah, right? Like it's kind of like it doesn't even make sense. The numbers don't even add up. But it's just I think people find out once they go to become an actor that it can feel like you still aren't being heard,
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's two characters,
Yeah.
right? I've recently had a few people tell me, you get in these rooms because you're on a TV show, right? And there may be some truth to that,
Okay.
right? The door might be unlocked. They might crack the door for me. But I still got to walk through the door.
Yeah.
And it's dismissive of the actor. It's just dismissive
I
of
agree with you,
anybody.
man.
Because what it is you're telling me I'm getting in the room because of my character on television, but not my character in real life. You know what I mean? There's two characters. There's the characters that we play,
Yeah.
and then there's your actual real character.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that people are seeing some of the real character, and that might be why they want to talk to you and see what you got to say.
So
You know
what
I mean?
part of
Yeah.
TC was your real character?
TC was a great role to get, to kind of kickstart a career with because I put a lot of myself into TC role. Obviously, I don't really fly helicopters as much as that's the number one question I get.
Do you
Can
fly
really, Can you really
helicopters?
fly a helicopter? But the reality is, I do not fly a helicopter. But I have flown a tiny bit. I don't think they were supposed to let me do those things, but they always
Disclaimer.
but it's like the tandem controller thing. So
Okay.
the pilot has a controller, and they call it a cyclic stick.
Were you scared at all when you realized the
yeah.
extent of having to be in a helicopter
Oh,
for your
listen.
character all the time?
First of all, when I first got the role, I was petrified
I bet.
because I'm afraid of heights.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I was like, oh,
Do you do carnival rides?
I can't. No, I don't like rides.
See ya, bro. I'm
I
with
used to
you.
work at Six Flags Great Adventure.
No. And you
Oh.
didn't do carnival rides?
Nah,
You
I
just
used to actually work the water rides, and then
Okay.
sometimes they would switch you around and
Yeah.
Which
have you
Six
work.
Flags?
Great Adventure in New Jersey.
I did Six Flags over Texas.
Oh, see, yeah.
It was
I
my
did.
first
I've worked the Batman ride when that first
the
came out.
Batman
When
ride.
it first came out, I worked the Batman
It's
ride.
hilarious.
Yeah, so and people, what would happen in the park is the workers would get to ride some stuff early before the park opens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people would go straight to Batman because it was like the newest, coolest ride. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Bro,
I'm not
with
getting
you.
on that. I think I've actually ridden the Batman once because somebody
Oh my gosh.
like kind of like forced me
They
to
force
do it.
you, right? They're like, just
Yeah,
get on, man.
yeah.
Just come
But
on.
I don't like that kind of
It's not that
being
it's not,
scared kind
yeah.
of thing.
I feel you, man.
It's like anxiety.
Okay, I'm
So
not the
then
only
how
one.
did you do it? How did you now you've got TC, it's an iconic a role from, the early years, and you got to put
Yeah.
your own personality stamp on it, but you're afraid of heights. To
Yeah.
walk us through
I
how
thought if
you
I
did all
told them
that,
that I was afraid of heights, I thought they were going to say, "Oh, we got to go to another guy."
Yeah.
right?
So I was like, I just got to keep
So you had
that.
to suck it
I
up.
gotta,
Secret.
I
You tell
gotta,
'em, bro, I'm a skydiver. I do.
I literally thought it was gonna feel like I just gotta like hide my fear,
Oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
then almost just get pushed out of the plane kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be that vibe.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna get pushed out.
what ended up happening was we went up.
Uh-huh.
And one, you feel very secure because you don't just have on like a regular seatbelt. You have the like double seatbelt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
with
that's good.
the triple dipple seatbelt. And I got up there and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I feel comfortable.
Oh, good.
Even with the doors off
Yeah, that would freak me out.
on the
Bro.
helicopter. Because that's the whole thing. Like if you notice on most of the episodes the doors are always off.
Yeah.
So did they
right.
do a custom replica for you that you look like you're on the side where you fly, or were you really in that seat and then somebody else
No, I
on
would
the
really be in the seat
Wow.
on the left-hand side, just like a car,
Okay.
an American car.
Every time I drive by like the airport area and I pass the helicopter, I'm like, man, that's TC's helicopter. Every time I'm like, it's just
Yeah.
TC's
Yeah.
helicopter.
That's
right
what's
there.
actually really cool is, people can come to the island and fly in the actual helicopter that I would always fly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just passed it the other last week. I
From
drove by.
Magnum Choppers.
Yes.
The
Really,
Magnum
really,
choppers.
really cool folks over there. Doug.
Did they
Doug
put
is
your
the
name on
main
it,
guy.
like how a military puts the name of the
They
pilot
never
on
put
the
my
side?
name, but they do have my on one of the choppers. They have my character's company on it.
Wow.
So it's Island
Cool.
Hoppers.
Yeah, Island
Yeah.
Hoppers.
And it's on the side
Yeah.
of the helicopter.
I think it's so dope. I mean, that's like super cool. Like, bro, that's you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is the
But
real life.
I
you.
couldn't. I still to this day. I'm like, wow, I never. But I did. My brother came to visit me from South Carolina one time, and I was like, yo, you can sit in the front, man. And I sat in the back. The back is a little scary.
I bet.
Bro.
It's different than being in the front. I don't know what it is. I don't
Yeah.
like being in the back.
Plus, you don't have control. You feel like you may be part of it.
I don't like being in the back. And then also, when you're on the actual tour,
Uh-huh.
you go higher.
Oh.
Right. And I wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
Because we don't
You were
go
like
that high.
shore-based.
They want you to stay kind of low so you see it with the cameras, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but the way it goes is once you pass Diamond Head, you're supposed to go pretty high.
Oh.
And so they go real high. And I was like, I was in the back of the thing holding on. Like I was holding on so hard that my hand had like a mark
my
on
God.
it, by the time I got back,
I'm hungry, Romeo. Really hungry.
I know a spot.
Really?
A really good spot.
Okay.
I could taste it at the tip of my tongue.
What kind of food is it?
Domino's.
Oh.
Everybody loves Domino's.
I love Domino's. Carry out, take out, you name it. Delivery. I love pizza.
Yeah. And I order it from the app straight up.
Ooh.
It's easy. I'm like, I'm futuristic.
I don't have an app, but I need one really badly.
You can go online, Domino's.com.
Domino's.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to download it. Let's go get some pizza.
I'm ready. I'm gonna get a pizza and a sub. And oh my gosh, no, I'm gonna order this thing. It's like this bread, and you dip it, and it's so good. Super.
All right, let's
Fire.
go.
Let's go.
Did you ever get sick? And
I never got
motion
sick.
Oh, that's
I've
good.
gotten ocean sickness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Like
not here.
shooting?
It didn't happen here.
Oh,
One
very
time in
good.
Brazil, I got really sick. Go on a trip to Brazil.
So you
Yeah.
you fly to Hawaii.
Oh, I did
You-
get sick here once.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we went on me and the cast. We went on a fishing trip,
Oh, fun.
right? And
So-
I was rushing because I'm always late for boat rides, and boat rides are serious. Like they want to take off.
Yeah.
They act like they're going to discover America or something, right? And I'm like, just relax. We're going to whatever. But we went to take off, and they were like, Steven, it's choppy out there. Do you get motion sickness, right, or seasickness. And I said, actually, I've had it once before in Brazil. And they were like, here, take this Dramamine. And then they gave me a beer. And it was like, drink it with a beer and you'll be fine. I think
Sounds
that
a
was a setup. I think,
recipe for
oh my God, it was
disaster.
terrible.
Ugh.
I was throwing up. I was laying. It was
Who
the
does that?
nastiest fishing boat, and I just, you know how when you're sick, you don't care how nasty
Yeah.
the floor is. You just gotta lay
Lay
down.
down.
Yep.
I was just laying on this disgusting floor,
But you don't
and
get better in the water.
no,
It,
I don't
there's
know.
no
It
relief.
was bad. But then we got a bite, right?
Oh.
And whatever this thing was, it was like a small dinosaur like pulling at the, and so they were like, Steven, we need your muscles. So I would like get up, throw up, and then just start like reeling this thing in. Right? So
Ugh.
we ended up catching a 500-pound
Joe.
tuna. No,
A
what's the
marlin?
one with the
Ahi.
long sword in the front?
A swordfish.
Swordfish.
Marlin. It's a
Marlin.
marlin, right?
Well,
you're asking the
marlin, I
wrong
think,
guy.
has that weird like fin, right?
Swordfish. We'll go
So I
with
think
swordfish.
we'll go swordfish, yeah.
And did you get a
500
picture?
pounds. We got a picture.
500 pounds.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was huge.
Oh my gosh. You go big
It
and
was huge.
don't go home. Good job.
Yeah.
Sell it to the fish market after that. You know, I'll go straight to the
Yeah, it
bank.
would be nice if that's how they do it
I
here.
know.
But what happens is they take the fish, they give
Oh.
you 2 little tiny steaks and tell you to beat it.
No.
What?
They charge you for it, and then they go make the money on the
Bro,
fish. That's how it
that's
goes.
like
That's
those,
a
you know, if
racket.
you ever have a bee situation at your house and then you have a guy come and release all the bees, they take all the bees and they go and they charge you for it, and then they sell the honey that they're gonna make off of the bees.
Yeah, that's maybe I'm in the wrong business.
It's your after years, Stephen,
Yeah.
your job.
Yeah.
So you go to Hawaii, you're going to be a helicopter pilot, you go to the party, coming off the plane, you don't know anybody. Who's the first cast members that made you feel excited and were warm to you?
First cast member, I remember talking to. Well, I'll tell you what happens when you first get here. The first person, and I wish I can't remember his name right now. I got to go back and look at the script, but I was the last person to get to this room. Right, I actually live across the street from the place now. It was Noi Tai. That's where we were at.
Okay.
Noi
in,
Tai.
International Marketplace, and no, not International Marketplace. What's the other one across the street from International Marketplace?
Outrigger?
The mall.
Royal Hawaiian?
Royal
Royal
Hawaiian
Hawaiian
Shopping Center.
Shopping Center, right?
Mhm.
So we were at Noi Tai in this like little back room that they have, and everybody wants to sit next to Peter Lenkov, right? So
Yeah.
everybody was kind of close to him,
Yeah.
and I had to sit like toward the back, right? There was one seat left,
Yeah.
and I ended up sitting next to one of the writers,
Oh, cool.
right? And the
Yeah.
writer is actually a friend of Peter's. So I'm just talking and talking and talking. And the thing I learned about writers, you gotta be careful what you say around them. So I'm telling all these stories and da 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 da. Me and him are kind of in our own little world,
Yeah.
right? And so much of that ended up in the script.
No.
Really?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, it was real cool.
So
It
what was
real cool.
one thing that landed in a script you're like, oh my
Um,
I
Lord.
hope he gave you
Uh,
writer's credit.
The one thing that landed, there's a scene, it's in the first season, and we're talking about art because I used to draw a lot, and we're looking at one of the murals in Kaka'ako, right? And I think it's one of Kamea Hadar's murals. And I'm talking about like, oh, look at this sfumato and all this nonsense that I don't actually know in real life. But as we're talking about it, I start talking about a dance class that I took, and he's like, "What? Wait a minute." Dance class, right? The
class.
Rick character is like kind of like jabbing at me for saying that I went to a ballet class, right?
Yo, let's
I used to
go.
take ballet. I never took ballet, but I used to dance. I used
Oh,
to be
yeah?
like, yeah, I
What
was in
kind of dance?
first time actually ever being on stage was in 7th grade. We did a talent show at the high school. We were the only junior high school students that were in that talent show, and we had a rap group.
Oh,
Let's
that's
go.
so
And
fun.
I was the like one of the dancers in the rap group.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think I might have told him that story, and they put it in the script.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Don't sit by writers.
Yeah.
That's what I take.
But then
from
we
them.
also they also put a lot of the fact that I went to Hampton University.
Oh, that's so
I made it
cool.
so
dope.
that TC also went to Hampton.
Oh,
Because the original TC, he went to Grambling,
Okay.
right?
Oh, the original.
Yeah, and then I was just like, can we change that to Hampton? Because I went to Hampton in real life.
Yeah.
So like I
Did you
said,
work
I
in
put a lot
your
of TC,
fraternity stuff too?
a lot of myself in the TC. I joined the fraternity out here,
Oh,
and not too long ago after
Wow.
Magnum P.I. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm still intrigued that
Kappa
you were in
Alpha
a rap
Psi
group.
Fraternity Incorporated.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
What was your rap group name?
I named the group. It was the Fourth Dimension.
Fourth Dimension. Do you remember any of the lyrics?
I don't remember any of the lyrics.
Is that on purpose?
But my buddy, my boy, still one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
I went to his vow renewal last summer.
Okay.
He's now been married for I think 20 years or something
Wow.
like that.
That's beautiful.
But he's still rapping.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Did you ever come up with like
smart hip hop, smart music? Damn.
where it's real like lyrically, like it just gets you like, oh snaps. How
Oh
can you-
yeah. Like so, he's doing educational rap,
Nice.
Oh,
right? Yeah. Smart. It's either smart hip hop, smart music entertainment. I believe it is. But his name is LOCK, which stands for Lyrics and Knowledge.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah,
heck
LAK. Yeah.
Who was your favorite like group growing up, or maybe rapper?
Favorite
growing
group
up?
growing up was A Tribe Called Quest.
Ah,
I loved EPMD. I loved De La Soul.
Yup.
And it's kind of cool because I got to do a few De La Soul videos in recent years.
wait, what?
Really?
What you mean?
Yeah. I did one called Memory of Us. That was the first one I did.
Yeah.
So you were in the music video?
Yeah.
Cool.
And that one, me and Estelle,
Yeah,
Yeah.
singer
Estelle,
Estelle.
American Boy.
American Boy.
Yes.
Me and her, we get married in the video.
Oh,
Nice.
shit.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad gig.
No, not bad at all. And she's so sweet, like really, really nice person.
Wow.
So yeah, me and Estelle get married in that video. And then they wanted us to do a cameo in one of their latest videos. And she wasn't available, so they still asked me to do the cameo. And it was the same weekend that I went home from my boy's vow renewal.
Wow.
So I went and I did both, which was really cool.
that is for sure.
But that was Oodles of O's.
Oh, sick.
Oodles of
So
O's.
speaking of that, why didn't TC fall in love and get married while you were here in Hawaii on the show?
TC or me?
I'll go with either.
All
You
right,
be
well,
brave.
TC, well, there was a nice little story arc where he was in love with a character played by Emily Alabi.
Yeah.
Alabi, and she played Mahina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a great story arc for her and for my character.
You know what I just thought about? I was like, man, if you really wanted the ultimate love story, while you were at that table talking to the writer, you should have told him.
I know. No, I did. I actually did.
All
Oh,
the
you
girls.
did?
The very first interview we did, we were doing a photo shoot, and then we did an interview. And in that interview, I was like, first season, I just want people to kind of get to know my character a bit.
Yeah.
And then maybe second season, he gets a little love interest. And so I was putting that
Yup.
out there from the
Oh,
very
good.
beginning. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
But it took a little longer. Didn't really happen until season 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Who do you keep in contact? Who do you stay the closest to from the old cast?
Closest from the old cast, I would say Zach probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
He's a
just
cool
wrote
guy.
him a referral. He's about to be a park ranger.
Oh, can you tell us what show or you don't? We
No,
don't.
not even a show in real
Oh,
life.
like a real
Oh,
park
yeah,
ranger.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so up Zach's alley. Like
Yeah.
just feels right for him to do something like that.
That's so cool.
But yeah, he was the first person I called after. So the way it works is you shoot the pilot,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? You shoot the pilot, doesn't necessarily get picked up, right? Like, so, or you can shoot a pilot and
They
they could replace you.
right?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
And I
terrible.
was the one
Why?
that was had the most fear of that kind of thing happening
Because then you
because
lost Manifest, right?
I had lost Manifest.
Mm.
Nobody knows me, right? I was the unknown,
Uh-huh.
right? Zach had done another show. Jay had done stuff.
Yeah.
Perdita had done stuff. So I was the total unknown, right? And then we had Sung Kang was in the beginning. It was in our first
I
one.
remember
yeah.
that.
He was like the original Katsumoto before
Yes.
Tim Kang.
Yeah.
And he didn't come back.
So why?
They didn't bring him back. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Never
Maybe
know.
he might have been too cool. That's what I think. That's what I'm gonna go with. Because he was
Chris-
so chill,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know if they maybe they wanted a more like uptight Katsumoto. Like
Got it.
Tim Kang played the character very up, like
Yeah.
kind of like a stick up his butt kind of character.
Yeah.
You know?
He was definitely always edgy
Yeah,
in
yeah,
his
yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
I love
so,
him as an actor.
So I think that might be it. But yeah, once we got picked up, right, from the pilot, and we got a 13 episode order, then you come out to Hawaii, and they don't. I didn't know. This is my first show, so I didn't know how this works. They just go, all right, we'll see you when you get there. And it's like,
It's crazy. You're just like out.
well, where do I live?
Blind.
Yeah, right? They're like, I don't know. You figure it out.
What do I do?
Yeah.
They made you figure everything out yourself. You're just like, here's the
Yeah.
job. Yeah, shoot, bro.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you're young and you get your first job and
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I finally got a job.
Heck yeah.
And that first
Remember that?
time, even though you get paid every 2 weeks, but that first paycheck is like the third week.
Yeah.
You're
Right?
already starving.
Yeah,
Like
you're
starving
you're eating
artist
peanut
for
butter
real.
and jelly. I was already starving.
Dang.
So
Wow.
I couldn't afford. I came out to Hawaii. I started looking at the rent,
Yeah, bro.
and I was like, wait a minute.
Crazy.
You're like, where am I gonna
I
live?
guess
in a
I'm gonna
hut?
sleep in the helicopter or something. You know what I mean?
But
So
I think that's so interesting that, that's why I love what we're doing is just to prepare that next generation of what they have ahead. You think, oh, I'm signing this big new show and you've got all this stuff. And then
no,
you're literally still having
No.
to
Grind.
like do the grind and the hustle and
Yeah.
planning and
Oh, yeah.
worrying and all of that.
yeah. So I called Zach because Zach's always like, he's always wheeling and dealing, right? So yeah, Zach, you're a wheeler and a dealer. So anyway, so he goes, oh. Yeah, me and Jay, we're roomies, right? And I was like, how'd you work that out? Like, nobody told me. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm the one that needs a room to be a roommate, right? So he was like, well, I think there's another room, but I think it's for the kids when the kids want to visit or whatever. But you should call Jay. Call Jay real quick. You better hurry up, right? So I called Jay. I was like, yo, bro, I heard you got an extra room. I was wondering if I could
That's
stay there
crazy
until
to me.
I get my paycheck. You know what I mean? And he was like, all right, well, let me call my wife and see if that's okay with her. And I was like, all right. I know that's the soft no, right? And then he called me back like a minute later and was like, yeah, my wife's not coming out with the kids for like a month or so. Like, you're good. And I was like,
But
what?
you were like so lucky. Like again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
shocking to me to hear that, you're still up and coming at that
Yeah,
point, even
yeah.
signed and moved and the
Yeah,
whole bit.
Yeah. But
Man,
it was,
that's a tip.
that, I'll always be in debt to Jay for that. You know what I'm saying?
Aw.
Like that was, and what that did was me, Jay, Zach all lived under the same roof
Yeah.
for
I'm about to say.
about a month.
Yeah.
And that just like made us fast friends.
Yeah.
And it shows on camera, in my
Oh,
opinion.
that's
Like,
so great.
I'm about to
know.
say it must have been special living with that. I mean, you guys living together. It's like, yo, we grinding together. We about to
Yeah.
do this show. And we
Yeah.
about to be stars. We about to
and
be.
it was Purdy that
on the
we thought
buses
was
in
like a
LA.
weirdo at first.
You thought he was a weirdo?
We thought Purdy was a weirdo. We were like,
What you mean?
there's our version of Higgins.
Yeah.
Because she was very standoffish
Oh,
She
at
was
first.
it seemed, I mean, I think she's hilarious and
Mhm.
she's so upfront. But is she Australian?
No, she's English.
English.
Yeah.
She did come across really standoffish for
Yeah.
sure.
She was so standoffish with us personally at
Oh,
first.
really?
We were like, oh man, we lucked up with the guys, but I don't know about this shit. Right? And then what it was is she's a party animal. And she
Oh,
was just trying,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
she was
that's
just
so
trying to
good.
keep it under wraps at first.
That's killer.
Yeah. And then she just became everybody's little sis. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
she
So,
is. She's beautiful.
yeah.
You know,
She was a lot of fun.
one of the things that I think you've done so well, and I'm so grateful, all the community, is how you got here. You had all this fame and fortune. You didn't know anybody, but to leave this place or still be here in a better place than when you got here
Yeah.
is what I just think is spectacular. And you've done so many things. I can rattle off some stories, but one that just happened was Martin Luther King Day. How much the community thinks of you and what
Mhm.
you have done and left behind in real time for the people of Hawaii is just to be chosen as the
Yeah.
Grand Marshal
Yep.
Yeah.
of
That's-
Martin Luther King Day Parade.
Yeah.
Woo!
Congrats on that.
That was
man.
like something
Yeah.
big. Something big.
That was cool. There's a weird, like, there's a behind the scenes story about that that people should know, but I don't know if I want to share it here.
Okay.
But it's a bit of a mess behind the scenes.
Okay.
And I hope that they get that together because it's too important of a march, too important of a man to not get that right.
Yeah.
But also, I did the interview on the news about it right before, and those news interviews, you don't really get to say much, right? Like they're like, you got 90 seconds to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
whatever you got to say, right? But and I kind of alluded to it, which is why on that news segment I said, this year's march is not about this year; it's about next year. And next year is about the year after, right? Because it's how you grow
Yes.
the movement. And I've been marched in that march maybe 3 times now.
Okay.
And each year it seems to get a little smaller
Hmm.
as opposed to getting a little bigger. And I think the communities here are missing out on an excellent opportunity to work together. I find myself in different circles.
Yeah.
Right. And it's great. It's nice to be in all the circles, but I'm often in circles where I'm the only black guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was me in high school, man.
Yeah. I'm the only black guy. Or
like a handful of us.
I'm in a circle where I'm with all black people and nobody else is in that circle. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that they have to completely overlap, but there should be some overlap of those circles.
Yeah.
Right. And especially at a time like the Martin Luther King Day Parade.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more of every community come out for that.
Yeah.
Right. Because Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement wasn't just for black folks, right?
Yep.
It benefited everyone.
Yep.
Absolutely everyone. So to come out and just give a thanks to a movement like that is important. And I want to see the Asian community. I want to see the white community. I want to how you guys call it, the Howlies. You know what I mean? Whatever. But I would like to see the black community, the Greeks, and
There's so many cultures in
All,
Hawaii.
The diversity.
all these cultures,
Yes, yeah.
Filipinos,
Yeah.
Koreans,
Yep.
Micronesians.
Yep.
I would love to see everyone come out for that. If not any other time, definitely that time,
Yeah.
right? The day before the parade, I went for a walk around Kapilani Park.
Yeah.
With the police, right? It was for the 2 slain. I wish I knew their names off the top of my head, but they had died in it was like a fire close to Diamond Head, to officers,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it was a memorial walk for them,
Yeah. Thank you for
right?
doing that.
But that's what I mean. Like when I got there, other communities weren't at that march, right? And then no one from that march was at Martin Luther King thing. So it's just like we're all out here doing our own thing.
Yeah, siloed.
Yeah, everybody's in their own corner doing it. And it's like we're in different classrooms,
Yeah.
right? And it's like let's all come together. We all we can all at least eat. We can go
Yeah.
back to our classrooms, but let's all eat at the same lunchroom.
Yeah.
You know.
Hope you're enjoying the podcast. I'm Dita Holifield.
Romeo Valentine, the host of Headliners Hawaii, and Dita, this place is amazing. I can't believe we're in the Hawaii Theater.
I got chicken skin just thinking about it. There's so many great shows, so many things to do here all year round at Hawaii Theater. We want you to come out and enjoy what we get to do all the time.
Yes, and you're not going to miss out, okay? So don't have FOMO. Get over to the Hawaii Theater, hawaiitheater.com. You got to get your tickets. Check out the calendar list throughout the year, every year, all the time. Now let's get back to the show.
One thing, from hanging out with you the last time is I learned something from, last time we met. And I'm gonna say that your heart is so big that
Yes.
you like to connect dots, I would say, and bring
Yeah.
people together. And it didn't matter like who, what, when, where, why. You were like, you brought me over to meet somebody, and you're like, hey, I want you guys to meet and connect, and and it just just shared your heart, like the humility that you have and the love that you have for everybody in Hawaii. I think a lot of people need to know that about you, man. I think that's it's a beautiful thing that who you are and. And how you are as just a human being, bro.
I mean, the last 2 years.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. The last 2 years you did that, is serving food during the Thanksgiving Salvation Army with the mayor, and just you just show up and you're ready to serve food and stand at the red carpet and welcome, the less fortunate as they come in. It's just you blow me away with your humility and your care that you have for all the people that live in Hawaii.
Well, honestly, I would love for us to get to a point where that doesn't blow somebody away.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
shouldn't
Wow.
blow you away. That I'm helping to feed the homeless. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's to me is like should just be the norm. It should be just like, I should have to do way more than that to be like exceptional. Right. And so I think that's one of those moments where we all have to set aside our differences and just kind of come together.
I love
Right.
that.
So like you said, I was there with the mayor and the governor and and one thing about Hawaii, if you follow the pages on social media, like the Instagram pages, the Hawaii pages, or whatever,
I know what you're talking about.
people will not mince their words and how they feel about anybody or anything, right? So, like, if they got some issue with the governor or the mayor, man, they gonna tell you, right?
And it's not even
They
an
gonna let you
appropriate
know.
time.
It-
Like you're
and-
talking about serving turkey, and then they're just going to talk about
Whatever.
traffic.
Exactly. So but my thing is, it's like, cool. If you don't like the mayor, that's fine. If you don't like the governor, that's cool. But when it's time to come together and help feed the homeless, that's that moment where we go, okay, time out.
Yeah.
Let's do the right thing for a minute, come together, and then we can go back to fighting afterwards.
That's so
Kind
cool.
of like that pause, like in the comic books where like the cats are like in that ball, and then like every now and then it's like a pause, and then they go back
And
to
they go
fighting
back
again.
at it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Some free space there.
Yeah.
So we're going to pivot
Mm-hmm.
during Headliners Hawaii, and we're going to get to know you a little better, but we're going to play a game.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
snap.
going to play a game, and it's called Either or Neither.
Okay.
Romeo and I are going to pick a topic, and then you're going to say you like one or the other or neither. Okay?
Either or neither.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, here we go. All right, first one. Would you rather be in an indie film with an Oscar-winning role or a blockbuster that makes you 50 mil?
Wow.
Yeah.
Give me the blockbuster with the 50 mil.
Man, take the bread.
Only because I just know I could just do so much more with that.
Oh,
Right.
that's so
If
great.
I were in the Oscar-winning role, then I can, walk around and be all hoity-toity about it, or how you guys say here, hi maka maka about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just gonna be, something that people will talk about. Oh, you got an Oscar, but you can't eat that Oscar.
No.
So
Facts.
give me the money, and then I'll, bankroll my own Oscar-winning film.
There you go.
Let's go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
You know, that's a businessman. That's the
I
business
know.
move. You know.
I like it. Well, he's a philanthropist at heart. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Would you rather be a superhero or a supervillain?
Ooh.
I like being the hero.
Okay. Okay.
I like being the hero.
I
Yeah.
think
Who
I
would you
think
pick?
you do too.
If
Yeah,
you could
I
choose
think
any
sometimes
hero.
the villain is more fun to play,
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
right? But the hero is like, it's cool for kids, and I just feel like we have a negativity bias already, and
Yeah.
there's just so much negativity in the world, and it's like I'd rather be Superman than be Lex Luthor.
Well, you talked about the Batman ride when you were
Yeah.
growing up at Six Flags. Who's your superhero that you wished you could be?
I don't know. Back then it was like there weren't a whole lot of black heroes.
Hmm.
So much so that they've had to like make heroes that were white, black, right? Like Nick Fury, they had to make him black. They had, they just had to just who can we make black? Because there was not enough black folks, right?
Yeah.
Or who can we make Asian, or who can
Yeah.
we, you know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of diversity in comic books, and I
Yeah.
love comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, you love
So-
comic books.
Yeah. I don't read them like I used to.
Yeah.
But other than Black Panther and Luke Cage, we didn't have very many, brothers like
Cage.
that. So, and I actually was in one of the episodes of Luke Cage.
No way.
If anybody wants to check
Really?
it out, you can check it out.
Oh snap.
But yeah, back then I loved Marvel,
Okay.
and my favorite characters. I'm lucky because all my favorites have been made into movies already. So I loved Iron Man. I loved Spider-Man.
I love
I
Spider-Man.
loved the X-Men.
Ooh, the X-Men are
Those
great
are
too.
some of my faves.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
X-Men, Fantastic Four, like.
And you know who I really like? I always liked Colossus.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Yeah. If
I
they
don't
could
know
make
who that is.
Colossus
He's
a
a big
black guy, I
silver-
would love to be like a black Colossus.
That'd be crazy. Yo, bro,
You know
you
what I
would
mean?
know, yes.
I don't know. I
Bro.
think you have a hit on your
Yeah.
You gotta
um,
speak that one into
plan.
existence.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Wait,
Or
you
just
say-
make me, actually, you know what?
Colossus.
Make me one of those outer space dudes that aren't even black, like that's just like purple or something, like Thanos.
There you
You know what I'm
go.
saying?
out of the box.
Turn Thanos
Yeah,
into a
yeah.
good
Give
guy.
me because I would love to. That's the only thing I haven't done is like sci-fi.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like all that special effects type of stuff. It must be exciting to see the finished product of like those type of things.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, when you make the movies, it's a little different, right? I see I watch a lot of like the behind the scenes and I'm like, they got all the things attached to them. The
Yeah,
suits.
yeah.
And then I was like, they made it into that?
Yeah. Like imagine like, we grew up with Lou Ferrigno playing the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
He had blue
That was
he had
the thing.
green paint on.
Yes.
And then like when he raises his arm, you could see that
See
he was,
where-
like it wasn't green underneath
Yeah.
there, right?
Makeup,
you know what I mean?
wardrobe.
Like, whoa, y'all missed the spot. Like, that sort of thing. But now we've got these cool CGI Hulks that look amazing.
Yeah. Okay, let's see another one. So would you always play the smooth talker or always play the awkward role? The awkward dude. Rather the smooth talker or the
That's
awkward?
deep.
I think I'd rather play the awkward guy.
Really?
Because you're smooth.
I'm gonna say
You're trying to
I don't think I'm
challenge
that
yourself.
smooth.
I
Oh,
think
you're
you're
smooth, bro.
smooth.
I don't think
No
I'm
I
that,
cap.
think you are.
I don't think I'm that smooth. Because I'm always like, I got smooth. I got smooth. And I'm not, Denzel Washington is smooth.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes is smooth, right? Those brothers are smooth, right? I don't think I'm that smooth. I think I'm more awkward than smooth, but I just maybe figured out a way to trick people into thinking I'm smooth.
No, bro, you smooth, bro.
Yeah.
I think so. So
All right, cool. I'll take it. I'll take it for today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you
Let me
rather
get
do
out
a-
of here soon before my smooth pumpkin, or I turn
Yeah,
back
you turn
to an awkward
unsmooth.
pumpkin. Yeah.
Would you rather be filming on location in a jungle or stuck in a green screen studio?
Mm,
Well, the green screen studio is where you get to be the superhero. So
yeah.
I want to do the and I've done a lot of the jungle stuff here
Yeah.
at Magnum. You know what I mean? And that ain't easy. It's hot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sweat a lot. You know,
Yeah.
And there's
they be
mosquitoes.
changing my shirt all the time for sweat.
Oh yeah.
Lots of cool Lower Ranch
Yeah, and
stuff.
mosquitoes love me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're in
But
love with your.
to be honest
you.
with you, any work, I just take the work. Like y'all can put me
Yeah.
in the jungle, you can put me in the green screen, whatever. But the green screen is where you get to fly. And
Nice.
I've never had a character that could fly.
Speaking
I'd
of the
love to do
work,
that.
where are you going next? I don't know without you divulging NDA stuff or whatever, but are you thinking of kind of Hawaii as your home now and you're going to be based out of here, or are you going to take other roles? Are you out auditioning? What's your next moves?
Next moves. I'm auditioning like crazy. I thought that Magnum P.I. was gonna make my life so much easier.
Uh-huh.
I thought it
I
would
mean,
be.
that's what we would think as,
Yeah,
regular
I
people.
was at the Super Bowl party last night. My tennis coach Rusty Komori.
Oh, yeah.
I love
bro,
Rusty.
Yeah,
He's great.
Superior.
That's my guy. Yeah,
He
Superior.
loves you.
Books as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get Rusty's books, Superiors, the latest one. I actually have a little.
Yeah.
You have his T-shirt.
did
I
coach
see
I
you
always wear
wearing.
Rusty stuff.
You're
And
loyal.
Rusty's just an awesome guy.
Yep.
Looking forward to my lesson tomorrow. But he invited me to a Super Bowl party, and Daniel Day Kim was there.
Oh, he's
as well.
there.
And we were talking. He was like, "It's tough for you because you came into this role and kind of got a big break in the business at the same time, like the business is contracting, right? So, 10 years ago, you come off of a job like Magnum P.I., you jump right into something else, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I came off of Magnum P.I. and it was just like, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've had the opportunity to audition,
Yeah.
right? There's so many actors that don't even get auditions,
Wow.
right? So I was still blessed, but
Yeah.
I auditioned over 50 times last year.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And I booked one right at the end of the year.
Wow.
And started and shot at the beginning of the year. So it was like, okay, at least I didn't end off the whole year on a donut, you know?
Yeah.
So
Now, Daniel Day Kim is just off. Is he still on Broadway or?
he's
home
always
for
doing
his-
something. I don't know. That guy, I would be so lucky to have a career as busy as his, right?
Yeah.
But I did a episode of FBI recently.
Oh, sick.
Oh,
that airs in
congratulations!
the next couple of weeks.
I love
Episode
that show too.
713. I did. Yeah. Get to play a bad guy in that too.
Oh, you played a bad guy in there.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But it's a bad guy with a heart. A good
Oh,
heart.
a bad guy with a heart.
So it's still
Do you
another
confess
like
at the
the
end?
good heart comes through.
You know what's
Aw.
crazy is a lot of like people look at bad guys like they're all bad people, but actually, you know what? A lot of like I would say like some of my gangster rapper friends that are like the most gangster are the nicest people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they always, one of the first things you learn in acting classes are that you can't judge your character.
Ooh.
You don't play the
gem.
character being bad. That's not, you're like, I'm going to walk in and be big and bad. You don't play that. It's just like, why is this guy the way he is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does this guy want to kill people?
Yeah.
You got to ask that question.
Speaking of how you play, so if you're tuning in the podcast and we talked about your early years and still the struggles when you got here, but if you're just getting started, what would be a couple great pieces of advice, like next steps, like solid? Do they get an agent? Do they go to acting classes? Talk through some really good advice from you.
One, I didn't know I was going to be acting until after I graduated from college, right? So I kind of started late. But, if you find out you want to act really early and you have that support, start taking classes early. Look to go to a school early, like try to get into Juilliard or Yale, or something, right? If I could do it all over again, I would, from high school, have my focus set on Juilliard, right?
It's a dream, bro. So many.
Yeah. Because those people work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not all of them. Not
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them. Not everybody that goes to Juilliard is going to be great.
Yeah.
But people that are great in Juilliard get the jobs,
Yeah.
right? So I would tell any young actor to to learn, to get trained,
Yeah.
because there are decision makers that will hire you based on that being on your resume,
Oh,
Mm.
good
right?
to know.
So
Yeah.
I would tell
That's a
people
It's
nugget.
a
to
great
do it.
cosign. Be like runs the
Yeah,
Juilliards.
and
Yeah, that's a nugget.
so it's not just about raw talent,
Uh,
So I didn't have that, but I did train. I trained with a woman named Susan Batson,
oh, nice.
and her son Carl Ford, and her ex-husband Cleabert Ford. So I've trained,
Yeah.
right? And so you gotta train with a woman named Tracy Moore Marable at one point too. Just always try to pick something up,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, you gotta train, and a lot of young kids that I talk to, they kind of just want to be on TV.
Of course.
Right.
They kind of just want to make the money right away,
Yeah.
right? I was broke for 15 years. I didn't have.
I'm about to say the training costs
Yeah,
a
yeah.
buck
It
and a
costs.
half.
It costs. To go to any school.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
ridiculously expensive.
But you got to invest in it, is what
And
you're
then
saying.
Yeah.
where do you find out about casting calls? So then your next step, your training, do you get an agent or?
I think before casting calls, all that jazz, at the beginning, don't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you also don't want to, if you are serious about it,
Yeah.
right? It's bigger than just being like an extra,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I tell my mentee this all the time. You have to make a decision on, am I going to be a fan or am I going to be an actor? Right.
Mhm.
And as an actor, you're always a fan. Like, I'm a fan of Denzel Washington.
course.
I'm a fan of, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like, I'm a fan as well.
Yeah.
But I had to get to a point where if Denzel Washington walks in, I'm not like, oh my God, that's Denzel Washington. Can I get your picture?
Yeah.
Because then he's just like, oh, you're not an actor, you're a fan.
Yeah.
Then you have to go, hey, Denzel, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Yeah, yeah. I'm Stephen Howell, play TC on Magnum P.I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to hold that. You got to act
Yep.
like you're not afraid of flying.
Bro, I
You know
know
what I'm
exactly
saying?
Well
what you mean.
said. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I do that with all the hip hop artists I meet, or even just the pop artist. I'm just like, I look at it as like this. I'd rather work with you guys than be the fan and,
Yeah.
and kind of be in the cahoots. I wanted to take you back a little bit because I know like a lot of people see the finished product, like, and you kind of brought us through everything that you've been through. But one of your first jobs, man, was it a paper route? Was you?
Oh yeah,
You had a
definitely.
paper route?
I had a paper route. I think maybe my first job was
Yeah.
sweeping up a store that my mom owned in Inglewood, New Jersey.
Oh,
She
shit.
Oh,
owned
wow.
At what
uh,
age did you start?
that was like second grade.
Wow.
I used to go after school. I would walk to the store and I
Yep.
had to sweep up, and she would pay me in comic books
No,
Oh,
let's go.
see?
and Garbage
Compensate.
Pail Kid cards.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Do you ever think like some of these things like
Yeah.
got you to this point, like reading comics brought you
Yeah.
to the imagination, the creativity?
Yeah, you know what it was? Inglewood. I was in Inglewood, New Jersey, and I was also in Harlem on weekends, and I was like adjacent to people that were famous, young,
Oh,
right?
really?
Like, this is a crazy story. I knocked on Eddie Murphy's door when I was a kid. Yeah,
What?
You knew where he
yeah.
lived?
yeah, because everybody in
Bro.
Inglewood knew Eddie Murphy lived in Inglewood Cliffs, New Jersey.
You went to
This
Eddie.
was
How
like
old were you?
early Eddie Murphy. I was
Raw
third
delirious
grade,
Eddie?
maybe.
What grade?
In third grade.
Oh, my
maybe.
God.
my
And
So
my
you're like
older
9.
my older sister, her and her friends were like, let's go to Eddie Murphy's house. Right? And we lived in Inglewood, and then he lives in Inglewood Cliffs, so it's like up in the hills or whatever. And we went, and they were like, Steven, go knock on the door. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just like doot doot doot. And I remember there was like a bodyguard or somebody opened the door. He was like, what do you want? And I was like, is Eddie Murphy home? Right? It was like, he ain't here. Right? And it was like, okay. Right? And then slammed the door and they were like, what happened? He not home. You know what I mean? So, you know, I hope I get to tell Eddie Murphy that story one
Wouldn't
day.
that be great?
I really do,
He will
right?
love it.
Yeah, but like it was that, and then like Sugar Hill Gang was from Inglewood. There was another guy named Big Bub, Regina Bell.
Oh my gosh, I loved her.
Yeah, like there was just a lot of people from that Inglewood area. John Travolta.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't know I wanted to act back then.
Yeah.
But everybody, I
It's
think,
like a seed.
yeah, I was also a middle child, only child,
Ah,
right? Because I was the only child between my mom and dad, but
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a family, and so that kind of kid wants to be seen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
'Cause
know.
you had
So
the
I was
stepbrothers and sisters.
yeah, I was you know, doing the moonwalk around the house. Look at me, look,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so I think those little seeds were planted to make me want to become an actor.
Wow.
And I just didn't actually look at the writing on the wall until after I graduated from college.
I almost feel like, you know, like a lot of these things, these stories that like you just said, like it's part of the story to build you up to this moment.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about, right, how life works,
Mhm.
that from second grade sweeping mom's, you know, store,
Yeah. Yeah.
here you are in Hawaii on one of the biggest
Yeah.
TV shows.
Yeah,
Yeah, international
and
TV
you just
shows.
don't know, like it's crazy if you really pay attention. Like, you know, I would tell anybody to just sit back and meditate on your life, and you can see patterns if you really look back on it,
Yeah.
right? And I remember, you know, like you said, I had paper route. I had 2 paper routes,
Yeah.
and I ended up being on the cover of one
Of
of those papers.
paper.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
wild.
serendipitous.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
don't
cool.
know what's to come, right? I remember I used to have Mr. T doll.
Oh, Mr.
Right?
T, a
Yeah.
bit of the fool.
Yeah, and it came and he had like the feather earrings,
Earring.
right? And it was like a big doll. It was like one of those big
Oh.
ones.
Yeah.
I remember having that doll, and Magnum P.I. years later, Mr. T was supposed to be my father.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was gonna be my father on the
That is
show.
crazy.
But then it was again either season 1 or season 2, and something happened. He got sick and couldn't do the role
Ah.
so they had to rewrite it.
Mm.
You know,
Wow.
but even just
But
the fact that was,
Yup.
and then
Who was your dad, by the way?
They
Did they ever realize
never
that
did that.
line?
They ended up going a different route,
Mm.
and Judith Scott played my mom. And she's played Zoe Saldana's mom twice. So I tell her by default, Zoe Saldana's my sister. You know, even though I haven't met her yet. But yeah, so yeah, you just never know.
That's
And then
right.
growing up, one of the things that, and still to this day,
Uh-huh.
like I watch a certain movie when I want to get back in shape. Like if I fall off
Hold on, I want to take a guess.
The treadmill
Is it
wagon.
Rocky?
it's Rocky IV.
Ah, God, look at this.
Rocky IV.
I took a guess.
Rocky IV
Whoa, Rocky
specifically.
IV.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something about that movie that like
Inspires you, huh?
rustic, you know, training sequence that Rocky goes through,
Yeah.
juxtaposed with Drago's like futuristic and
Yep.
technological training sequence.
Uh-huh.
I think they say that that's one of the best montages in television history,
Yeah.
right? But then
It is, yeah.
there's Carl Weathers in there, right? And like, yo, Apollo Creed was incredible, right?
Yeah.
Those dudes'
Yeah.
physiques were insane. I've
Yeah.
never gotten to that level. I always
you have a
wanted
trainer?
to. I don't have a trainer, but that movie always it always moves me to get back in the
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Motivates you.
And then years later, I get to set our second episode on Magnum P.I. after shooting that pilot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I get to work with Carl Weathers.
Wow.
Bro.
Right? Yeah.
Bucket list.
And so what often happens, I don't know what this is, but when there's like a guy, like I wasn't in any scenes with him, I was like, no. why am I not in the scene with Carl Weathers? What is happening here? Who wrote this? Right? And then so there's like one little scene where I'm standing there, but we don't say anything. And I said to him, I was like, yo, I'm not missing this opportunity. I have to engage you in this scene. So I was like, we got to do a fist bump or something, right? And I was like, the Carl Weathers fist bump with Drago is iconic, right? Like it's like that's the like I must break you. Like you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Right? And they do this little fist bump like where they touch hands. And I was like, we gotta do a fist bump, right? I'm like, so we go to do the fist bump, and the funny thing is we miss.
Oh.
All right?
Did you ask permission or did you just go
I was
for
just
it?
like, yo, I told him, I was like, yo.
On the side?
Me and you, I'm gonna be like,
wow.
We're gonna give each other some dap, right? And we miss it. Right? And it was just one take, and I was just like, no, we missed that joint. We got to make sure we get it right. And we got it right. But the one that they film, the one that they edit into the show is the one where we missed. So you can see me and him, we kind of like do this weird, awkward fist bump. It's pretty funny.
So fun.
It's pretty funny. So you watch that episode, you'll see, like,
I'm
look
going to
at him,
have
look
to
at him miss
rewatch
that
it.
fist bump. It's so awkward. But then, unfortunately, he passed away. And we were supposed to go to lunch. We had this lunch planned.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
But real cool, me and Branscombe Richmond, we sang him happy birthday and sent him the video.
Wow.
Literally a few weeks before he passed away.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a memory.
Yeah.
Stephen Hill, it has been a pleasure to have you on Headliners Hawaii. I learned so much about the business, but more so I just even are a bigger fan of you now. What a heart you have and how inspiring. I'm sure you're inspiring as well as me.
You are, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to fist bump you though.
Yeah. Hold on. I before we finish, let me see if I got to get ready.
Can you do
my interview? This
Actor leg.
Yeah,
The
my thighs.
actors.
This is the actor leg.
Yes.
This is how they do.
I have a serious question.
Yeah.
Is that like, okay, you're in the industry. Like, I always watch these talk shows and all that stuff. I literally started putting my leg up during this show, and it hurts, not gonna lie. Okay,
Yeah,
but I'm dealing with
yeah.
the pain,
But you-
Steven.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you got to do some yoga.
Yeah.
Between
Some
interviews.
stretching
Yeah, I
in
don't do enough
preparation.
yoga. I got to do some Bikram yoga or something.
Will yoga help with these tree trunks?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. Open
I
up
feel
the hip.
awkward
It opens
right
up the
now
hips.
about in the middle of this conversation.
It's a real thing. I always thought growing up, I was like, man, how do all these actors, they put their legs like that all the way across? And I'm like,
I don't know how they do it either.
is that okay? So it's not like they tell you like, hey, you guys got to learn to put your leg over it. It's just like they just naturally.
I don't know.
I think like all the actors like in the community.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you did your
always
leg
wondered
deal.
that.
I tried.
And we want to have you back. Keep us informed of what you're doing. And again, thank you for befriending Romeo and I and all the things that you do for
Thank
the
you
people
guys.
of
Thank
Hawaii.
you guys.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to leave the audience with one thing that you would love to tell them, one mantra to live by, or what would it be?
The audience. Let me see. Stay off the drugs. No. I would say for the Hawaiian audience specifically, I would just say, hey, man, come together. Come together. Start throwing some barbecues with mixed crowds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let the magic happen at Magic Island.
Hey.
Oh.
Come to Magic Island and bring all of the crowds together.
Bro, we should throw something together, man.
We should.
We should throw
really
something
should,
together.
yeah.
And we should, we should. Yeah, I think we should. I think we should really.
I'm
make
down to
some
do like a hospitality. Let's just
Oh, cool.
just hand out free burgers and dogs.
Yeah, and that's you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Such a
But just bring everybody.
I'm
have
with
such
that.
a heart.
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that. I can DJ it. I can, I can put in for the dogs and everything.
Let's do it, man.
Bro,
Let's do it.
we planned it right here on the show.
We did.
Dita.
Yeah. I know.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen. Let's do it.
Yes, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
But Steve, man, we are so grateful that you came through, that you gave us your presence, and you're an amazing talent, very talented guy, and just man, we're glad that you can fully embrace the being here in Hawaii and just living here, because having celebrities live in Hawaii is, bro, it's so cool.
Yeah.
People get to see you around. It's so dope, and
Yeah.
we don't get much action like that out
I
here.
don't feel like a celebrity. I just feel like a regular guy that just happened to be on a TV show.
No.
Bro,
But-
trust me,
you know what I
man. You gave me cool points, because I had people coming up to me last time we was hanging out. I had you on my Instagram. Like, bro, I seen you with Stephen Hill. I was like, shoot, man,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, Stephen, me and him go back. No, I just played. I didn't do all that, but,
Yeah.
but
Big mahalo.
It was the cool points, but
Yeah. So
Mahalo.
thank you for Hawaii Theater for hosting Headliners Hawaii. I'm Dita Holifield.
I'm Romeo Valentine with our very special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen
Stephen
Hill.
Hill.
Oh, you guys. Thanks, guys.